Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chronic Health Collective. This isn't just a community, it's your fresh start. We have gathered the best coaches and experts to help you reclaim your energy, heal from the inside out, and live with purpose. Whether you're longing for more energy, deeper healing in your relationships, or a life that feels more aligned and fulfilling, you're not alone anymore. I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson, and today I am joined by two of my favorite people in the world, Samantha Kaaua and Jessica Hammock. Hi, girls. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Excited to be
It's good
here.
to see you both. We're worldly today. Samantha is joining us from Hawaii and Jessica from Texas. And of course, I'm in Idaho, so we're spread out.
I love
it. Well, girls, I was thinking about our theme of harvest, which we have going on this month. And I kind of started thinking, about reflecting back on this last year and maybe even a little further, maybe even deeper back into our lives and acknowledging, I think we forget in our busy world to acknowledge how far we have come. So I thought it would be a great start to the show today for us to start kind of acknowledge ourselves and each other and give people permission out there to acknowledge how far they've come. So anyone want to jump in?
Well, I can start. I will say, I think the thing to remember about harvest is this idea of when you sow seeds, like when you sow the seeds of things, and a lot of times we expect immediate results from sowing seeds. And so one of the celebrations I would say of a harvest is that I really had intentions and sort of goals of speaking more often, more frequently on more stages and things like that. And in January, I sowed seeds to be able to speak at a big conference that I'm part of, a Women's Connection company. And so I'm celebrating the harvest that next week at this time, I will be in Minneapolis and I will have spoken on a stage of 500 women sharing one of the top 7 keynotes for the conference.
Wow. Congratulations.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's
very exciting. But also, once one seed is sown, like there's very few plants where you just sow one seed and you reap one fruit or one harvest, right? That it multiplies. And so that for me is what I want to remember, but also for the audience to remember is sometimes it just takes one seed. And one seed can produce a tree or a bush or a plant that produces many fruits or many vegetables. There's not always a 1-to-1 ratio. And the importance of that when you come into a harvest season, that you may have planted one seed, but that one seed has multiplied. And so now I have several speaking engagements lined up that I'm looking forward to also.
That's wonderful. I love that.
I love it too. It really it's so cool because you said planting all it takes sometimes is one seed to have this really abundant harvest. And one of the things that I live by and I say a lot and is a testament to my backstory and where I've come from is that it only takes one person to transform a relationship and a marriage, and that it can have that ripple effect on all your relationships by just transforming yourself. And that is my story. That is my celebration, is the relationships that I have today, the marriage I have today, just by planting that seed so long ago and the thing that I told myself back then was, I'm not going to leave my marriage until I felt like a whole person. And because I knew that if I just left when things weren't going well, which it wasn't, it was going really bad. But if I just left, I would still be stuck with myself in my next relationship. I would still be facing probably similar challenges, right? In just a different setting. And so I said, okay, well, I could leave now, or I can get the most I can out of this relationship which would be growing the most I can in myself right where I am. So that was the seed that I planted. And I love that you were saying that, Jessica, because it reminds me of also that ripple effect, right? So the multiple fruits that have come from that one seed that I planted, that one decision I made to stay in my marriage despite how hard it was, or what was happening at that moment. It created more confidence in myself. A business was birthed from that. My work in this world, from that experience itself. So yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, Jessica. And thank you for the question, Kristy.
Oh, my pleasure. I love to talk about things like this because I think we so forget. I said this before. We get so busy and so absorbed, we forget to take a moment. And this is a season of kind of slowing down. I got reminded of this because I have a friend in Canada who actually lives on a ranch. Oh, nice. And I sent her a message and she said, I can't, we have a group, and I said, hey, let's do a Zoom. And I can't, we're in full harvest season. And I thought, that's literal harvest. Yeah. And so that's what got me triggered. But I love what both of you said, because business, professional, pure personal, it applies to everything. And I've noticed in teaching, when I would plant seeds of, I would see teachers or parents who would plant negative seeds with the kids and how it would come out in their behavior. And it's not, I would feel bad for them. And I'm like, no, you're beautiful. You're smart. You can do this. Who cares if you do things a little sideways or slower than everyone? Who cares? It doesn't matter. And trying to pull out those weeds a little bit and plant something that grows into something good, because we beat up on ourselves way too much, and those weeds need to go. Yeah. Because we all are, everybody's doing the best we can. But yeah, that's what I've been working on, being new to this area and not knowing anybody. I joined an organization that Jessica's always also a part of that has been really helpful just in the last couple of weeks of meeting people. So I love that. Yes, we're harvesting, but we're also sowing new things. Yeah. Yeah. So I was wondering, is there anything like surprising, like that you kind of planted, that sort of sprouted, that surprised you, that you didn't really know you didn't really maybe think about it too hard, but something surprising came from something
I will say, for me, I think I had something where I was doing a workshop more on the lines of, I was asked to speak. I responded to this call for speakers, and I met a lady who has, she teaches nurse practitioners how to be functional medicine practitioners. And so I responded to the call to speak, and we were doing something. And so to me, it was just like a once and a done, and it was an opportunity. But a surprising thing that came out of that was that one of the nurse practitioners going through the program actually had her own pod of individuals coming through her high ticket program. And she's like, I recognize what you do is so valuable. So now she has booked me to be a standing reservation for all her new clients. They have to go through so many sessions with me. And so she pays me out of her, it's part of her high ticket program, but she includes my sessions as part of her high ticket. So she pays me, I meet with them, and then they can continue to book as needed. I would have never guessed that expansiveness would have come from doing that one event. And then it's propelled me to talk about it. And then I've actually had women completely unconnected book me for the same event. And so now it's grown into like, how can I continue to sow this seed to get to more and more people in that aspect of things? So definitely was like a harvest I didn't expect, but actually it's turned into, it's kind of like when you plant a flower and you're not really sure what color it's going to be.
You're like, I found a seed. Let's see what it turns into.
then you plan it and you're like, oh, this is like my favorite thing of all times. And now you want to go find more and plant more. So that's been a beautiful thing from that aspect.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Let's see. What have I been surprised with? I mean, I think going back to the same seed that we talked about me planting in my marriage, I think the surprising thing that has come from that is just who I've become in the process, but also who like my husband has become in the process. So I'll share a little story, a short story. So when we were back in the thick of it, it was still early on. I was doing the work, my own work. I was learning under my mentors to visualize and envision the marriage of my dreams, right? Like I'm planting the seed that I'm staying here, becoming the best version of myself, but also holding the vision for what I would love my marriage to look like in the future. And it was hard at that time because I couldn't see my husband being that person in the future. I had to actually put on almost like a shadow of a person to leave it open that it could be him, but it could be someone else. And that was the only way I could stretch my mind to visualize what I wanted my marriage to look like. Because he was so set in his ways. He was really stubborn. He was in his addiction, in his depression. It was really hard to visualize that he could come out of that. And I think the beauty of it all is that it became even better than what I visualized. That there still till today, some of my friends are even like, who is that guy you're married to? Because I don't recognize him anymore. And he said what? And he did what? And all in good ways, right? Like all the things that we never thought were possible. And then even for myself, I never, ever dreamed of wanting to homeschool my children. But because of the person I've become, because of the strength of our marriage, because of just all the things that the trickle effects that have happened along the way, I'm now homeschooling my middle daughter for 6th grade. And you never would have guessed that that would be something I would want to do. And so my visions have expanded, the things that are now possibilities, but also just probabilities and things that I want have completely shifted just from that small seed that was planted so long ago, right? Just I couldn't have imagined where I would be today. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're going to talk. In fact, on Saturday, is your day Saturday or Friday for the master class?
Well, by the time they're hearing this, it would have been this past Saturday.
Oh, check out our Saturday, our 4th day of our master class. She's talking about how to make your husband listen to you. I am there for that.
Yes.
You know, it's really interesting, you guys, because for me, I actually, I still have a love, and, you know, I'm a big advocate for homeschool, and I have a love for teaching, but something surprising happened to me very recently, which is I have been I'm a recovering abuse sufferer from narcissistic abuse. Okay. And literally from the day I was born, because my father, and et cetera, which I'm not going to bore anybody with right now. But in the course of talking to people, so many people, I discovered that there was a healing happening. And so I decided to start a new business, which I haven't even launched yet. Oh. And it's called the NARC Detox Club. And it's, nice. I'm getting it. And it's a support group, and it's private and confidential. I want people to feel really, really safe in there. Like it's not going to be out there in the world kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so that seed, I mean, who would have thought that my birth into a family with an abusive narcissistic father would turn into something much later in my life that could potentially be really, really helpful to a lot of people, because it's such a chronic problem in the world. So I just, it's the perseverance, it's, you plant those seeds, they grow at their own rate, and you just have to honor what happens and choose the things you love and walk away from the things you don't, that aren't serving you or aren't serving others around you. Like, especially if you have children, sometimes, you have to protect the children. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to think about.
I love that your seed was your birth. in this situation. That was the first seed.
I came into the world and said, "Oh my God, what have I done?"
And that's really powerful. I think it's so funny that you brought that up, because I was recently called to possibly, I haven't decided yet, but possibly start another women's group in my local community too, like very much not online, not this virtual thing, but just for the women in really close to me. Because one of the things I used to do when I did substance abuse counseling was we would run process groups. And what it means, it's like a women's group, a circle, but we would process our feelings in a really structured and safe way. And that was something that I found myself being really good at, was holding space for women to talk about their traumas and their experiences without going into them, without getting stuck in them, and by learning to empower themselves to move forward. And so it's so cool that you're talking about starting this. And I was like, I just like literally 2 days ago got nudged and like, okay, Sam, maybe it's time. And it was just because I would hear some of my friends, like women at my workout class or just women around me, just say how much they're struggling right now. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're just in that season of struggle, and not to say it in a bad way, but just there's a lot going on for a lot of people, and just wanting to create that space, right?
I love this. Let's go deeper into this, but first I think we need to take a little break, and we'll come right back and return to this.
A life empowered is closer than you think. Empowered is closer. While looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science, at longevity, at exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take control of your well-being from the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
Have you ever felt stuck in your marriage, wondering if things will ever get better? Meet Samantha Kaaua, the marriage coach who's helping people transform their relationships in ways they never thought possible. Having saved her own marriage twice, Samantha knows the way forward. If you're ready to rebuild trust, reconnect, and create the love you deserve, visit www.thegems.com today, because the first step to transforming your marriage starts with you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chronic Health Collective. We were right in the middle of a great discussion. Samantha, I love that you just got the nudge to start doing that.
Yes, no, I'm sorry. I like completely lost track of our timing and was like, oh yeah, we have a commercial break. Hello.
Sorry.
So, but yeah, it was just piggybacking off of what you're launching, Kristy, and I'm just really, I feel really in alignment with what you're saying and the need for more support groups for women in general, around the world and in their local communities, like things that people can go to. I know you're talking about anonymous, so you might be doing yours virtually too, but just a safe space, right? That women don't have to be the strong ones, that they don't have to be the ones holding it all together, that they don't have to be the ones putting on the brave face and keeping it all good for their families, right? And I'm guilty of that for sure, especially being small side funny story. I was told my husband I was leaving work and in a little bit, and then an hour, maybe and a half later, I had gotten into a deep conversation with my coworker and lost track of time. And he came running to my working place, knocking on the door, making sure I didn't have a heart attack, and was lying on the floor. So that was, and I lost my train of thought in regards to why I was sharing that story with you. Look at me.
It's okay. Just it's all about, it's the nudge.
Oh, sorry. And then what my daughter had said to me, sorry, I remember why I was saying that. My daughter had said to me, Mom, we needed you at home to stay calm. And I was like, but I was the one that they were worried about, freaking out that I didn't answer my phone for an hour and a half, right? So that is just the symbol of like who I am in the family. It's like, I'm the calm one. I'm the one holding it together. I'm the one. And I think that's really common for a lot of women in the world, right? I don't know if you two can relate, but I.
Oh yeah, I know Jessica can relate. I mean, even on Zoom.
Yeah. I mean, and even as like the roles that we hold as coaches, right? Like we're the ones that are setting the example. We're the role models. We're the ones that have made it to the other side of whatever we're coaching on. And so it puts that pressure of like having it together and me just wanting to create a space where we don't have to have it all together, right? That safe circle where we can fall apart amongst other women who have our back. So
I will say this to kind of piggyback on that and kind of be inclusive in our topic is I was doing a training recently for something called Youth Mental Health First Aid. And in it is the picture of the oxygen mask, and everybody knows the adage, put the oxygen mask on yourself. And I was doing the training for mentors, and I said, this used to mean one thing until I became a mom, and then it meant something different. Because in that moment, it was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. Put your oxygen mask on first. But I remember the first time I flew with my daughter, she was 6 months old, and it was literally a tug of war in my heart because it's like, I want to help her, and I need to put this on her. And then it was also this switch that flipped inside of me that's like, but what if I fumble? Or what if she fusses? Because she was in a car seat. And then she's struggling to accept the mask, right? And then I become incapacitated in that moment. Then I've rendered us both in a place where we're helpless. Yep. And so for me, to what you're saying, Samantha, I think is so important, especially when it comes to like, sowing seeds and doing the work along the way until we're, even when we're in a harvesting season, it's still important to acknowledge that there are times we have to care for ourselves, because otherwise we are providing aid and support and coaching and moving through things in a way that's not serving us or the clients and the people we're working for. We're trying to reap a harvest and work through this process when we're tired. And I grew up on a farm, so I know a little bit about how the harvesting works in some things. And it's like, it's the end of the day and the middle of the season, and you're tired and you're hot and you're sweaty, and that heat exhaustion sets in. And this idea that when we become incapacitated, but as women, and then caregivers, whether you're caregiving for your parents or for your children or whoever, it's almost like we bypass our own needs. And that's not really serving us when we completely bypass our own needs to connect with other people or take a break, because essentially we're incapacitating ourselves and the people that are with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we not only lose the harvest of that moment, we can lose the whole crop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really what it is that we want. Like we're in an effort to bypass it all and think we have to do it all and hold it all together. We really not just lose ourselves in the moment, we lose the whole crop. And for what gain? You know, nobody's going to come along and say, oh, but you persevered and you did it and you did great, when everybody's falling apart and having a hard time. And like you said, they all need me to stay calm kind of thing. Right. But like when we're not willing to connect with each other and reset and be safe and heal, and for us to do that as coaches with our coaches and with our mentors, but also be that model so that the people that we're working with and coaching can recognize and say, like, you're not just telling me I need to take time to heal and have harvest in my life of those healing practices, but you are modeling what it looks like when we become, you know, have our own boundaries and times that we work and that we rest and all of those things too.
Absolutely. You know, it's really interesting what you guys are saying. So I'm past the age of having children in the house, but I'm the caregiver for my 87-year-old child that I live with. And and I noticed something. I was out a lot a couple weeks ago. I was out a lot because I had a lot of meetings with new people. Things were starting to roll. I was starting to make things happen. And then I'd come home and I did my thing. I make dinner, whatever. But then she got sick. And then I would come home and I could feel, you know how that you're sensitive and you just know, I could feel like this anxiety in her, like she's here, she's safe, she's in the house, there's food, there's her television, her chair, everything's fine, but I wasn't here. And so I come home and she's looking at me like I'm going to disappear. Something's poof into the air. And then she got sick and I was home and I switched my meetings to Zoom meetings so that I was here. And I thought, and so I had to talk with her about it. I said, you know, I'm going to be out more. You're used to me being here all the time, because for a while I had to be. There was no option, but she's better now. And so I had to have a talk with her to actually clear that energy, because I didn't think she was really aware of it. And you have to become aware of this, and you have to be more self-sufficient if I'm not here. And so she said to me the other day, you know, I was thinking about what you said, and I think I have to be more self-sufficient.
Oh,
Isn't that a great idea, Mom? Never would have thought of that. No, but yeah. So it's really interesting, the shift in the dynamic. So because taking breaks, but also like for me, I need to be out more making connections and stuff like that, because I'm her sole support. There's nobody helping me. And so anyway, valid points. But your daughter, Samantha, you know, she's what is she, about 11 years old?
Yeah, 11.
Grade?
She's going to be 12 in like a week.
Oh, next week is her birthday?
Yeah, on the 6th. Well, actually not next week. Well, from our show.
Yeah.
From our show. The day it airs.
Yeah. So, you know, she's getting older, so that little bit of self-sufficiency will come into play there too. So yeah.
Oh, they're very self-sufficient, my girls. Yeah, they can make their own lunch and their own meals, and I'm proud that I raised some very independent girls. And my oldest is off to college in San Francisco right now, so just dropped her off like a month ago. So it's there's just been a lot of transition, a lot of harvesting, I guess we could say, because that's the harvest of an 18-year journey of sowing that seed, having my first child, right? But
That sounds like it could be a little chaotic, all the drama that goes into getting ready to, and she obviously has to live there because you live in Hawaii. That's kind of
Yes.
far to commute daily.
Oh, yeah. Not possible.
Yeah. So, yeah. Have you guys noticed that we have to sort of make our way through chaos a lot of times as we move through?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's part of like that birthing process. It's part of that growth process, that things do get messier before they get. I like to use the analogy of boiling water, and I say, like, in order to create a phase change from water to steam, the water itself in the pot gets really shaky. It looks really chaotic. It looks really scary even before you get this nice rolling boil. And I tell people, just because the pot is starting to bubble and there's starting to be some rough waters doesn't mean you turn off the heat. You need to keep the heat on. You need to keep doing what you're doing in order to fully get that phase change. But yeah, so short answer, yes.
That's a great analogy. I like that analogy. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
steam.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know Jessica has a little one. So
Yeah.
chaos.
Oh yeah. How old is your little one, Jessica?
She's 3.5.
Oh, you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, so we waited a long time. Our harvest, our waiting to reap our harvest was 10 years. So, yeah, so she might be a lot further along in that, but we waited a long time and we reaped a really good harvest. But she's 3.5, so we get a lot going on. Yeah,
that's fun. I remember the 3s.
Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. I don't remember a portion of my life because my children were like toddlers together. I have my 2 are 15 months. My 2 younger ones are 15 months apart.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, a chunk of my memory is gone because I was just like in the
Your
thick
body
of it, right?
was doing a lot of things. Like your house was doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
That can happen. That happens. That happens for everything. It happens for work things. It happens for everything. You lose little pieces, but the important things stay with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the critical part.
We were talking about this kind of the idea in the middle. I heard this idea from a mentor, and it's been really helpful because I think that we get stuck in this idea of a harvest, and we plant and we want the harvest, and we plant and we want the harvest. And when we expect the harvest to come in a certain season and it doesn't, it can get very discouraging. It can get very chaotic. And so this idea came from a mentor, and a lot of people would say it's a gratitude practice, but really what it is something called tracking your sprouts. And so it's this concept of being able to sit in the day that you're in and look at where have the small growth things happen. Because otherwise, if we complain about not having the harvest yet, or we get frustrated because we're in the middle of it, oftentimes we uproot the work we've done because we get so frustrated, as opposed to really looking at where are the little wins today? Where's the little thing I did to stay this course? Or not, even energetically and emotionally, how we speak about what's going on and what we're hopeful for, like when Samantha talked about the vision for her marriage and things like that. When we get discouraged, we deviate from those visions a lot of times, or we complain about not having the arrival point. And essentially, it's the imagery of like running into the field and ripping the plants out. We got to start all over because we ripped out the sprouts and the growth we have. We negate what work we've done. And so that's been a really helpful practice for me, that no matter what I'm hoping for a harvest in, or where I've planted seeds in, whether the real outcome of that harvest will come in a week, a month, a day, or a decade in my life, is to continue to plant seeds, but also to continue to recognize the growth in those seeds along the way, whether the environment is growing and changing, or I'm growing and changing, or something has happened, then I see this little evidence of growth. And that brings such hope for when the harvest does arrive. It feels so much more joyful to be able to partake of it.
I have a question for both of you that what you're sharing has kind of popped into my head. I don't know if you both can relate, but something that I endeavor to continue to work on is celebrating the harvest. So you just mentioned about, how we're celebrating these little sprouts in order to have even more of a celebration of the final harvest. And I don't know if it's a female thing or a cultural thing or just a me thing, but up until recently, well, I mean, the past 10 years or so, I've been very conscientious about it, but the struggle in celebration of things, like learning how to celebrate myself, even on my birthday, right? I've been conditioned to say, oh, it's just another year. Oh, it's just this, I'm just this much old or this many years young, like whatever it is. I've been conditioned to minimize a lot of these bigger accomplishments or goals. And I have been taught to have gratitude along the journey. So the smaller things to find gratitude in and stay positive in were easier for me. But when it came to these big monumental moments, I have struggled up until now or recently to celebrate that. So I would love to hear how the two of you do that or have learned to be better at it.
Yeah, I would say for me, it definitely was a journey to get to celebrating. And it was when I really, in the last probably 5 years, found a group of women to say that to me. You realize this is a big deal, right? And I think it took other people saying it to me many times. You realize this is a big deal, right? And I'm like, it is? Because I think you get so in the thick of doing the work for the harvest. And sometimes even collecting the harvest can be exhausting.
Right? You're like, oh my gosh, okay.
An orchard and pulling the fruit down, or I don't know what the harvest is like in Hawaii. I've never harvested anything in Hawaii. I've done field crops and I've done orchard crops and garden crops. And it's still a work to go do those things. And so for me, it is women saying that, like, you realize this is a big deal, right? So surrounding myself, one, with people who support celebration. And then for me, it is intentionally asking somebody to anchor it in with me. So I've chosen to do a practice to anchor a thing in. For example, when I mentioned I got the speaking engagement, I had a group of women that had been sort of standing in that vision with me and sending good thoughts and prayers along the way. And I secretly told them before I did everybody else. And so we went to dinner and we anchored it in with celebration, and they celebrated me and they told the waiter about it. So like it was sort of like a practice of being in the moment and just being present with all the emotions and the good things of it, but recognizing that it was worthy of celebration, that it was something to do. And for me, the connection for other people is really important. So I know that Kristy has to share. I think we're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll hear more about what Kristy has to share.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
The time has come for us, the parents who want more for their children and the teachers who want to love teaching again, to band together and stop the coercion and control and the crazy-making boredom. How? By making learning a joyful experience in a relaxed environment. by supporting and encouraging kids, not forcing or tricking them. Meet Kristy Boyd Johnson and the Barefoot Learning Club membership. Go to www.barefootlearningclub.com and find out more. Together, we can raise a generation of wildly capable and happy kids.
Have you encountered a situation or an event in your life that's caused you to feel stuck? You are on a journey to live your best life, but thoughts and feelings from the past keep showing up and has caused you to feel like you're not headed in the right direction or being the best version of you. Meet Jessica Hammock, trauma recovery and transformation coach. Not only will she teach you about emotional and mental health, she's here to help you unwind the treasure of who you are from the trauma of your past so that you can walk in the truth of your identity and break free from what is holding you back so you're able to nurture the best version of who you're meant to be. The time is now. Let's get started.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Chronic Health Collective. All right, we were digging deep, and I believe the question was, how do we celebrate more? And your answers sparked in me a realization that I hadn't really become aware of until this conversation. So thank you for that.
Let's hear it.
I realize how much I push away compliments or things like that. I'm not worthy. Like, oh, you're worthy. You guys, look how amazing you are. You're worthy, and I'll celebrate you all day long. But me, no. So I think that's something I have to work on.
I have definitely gotten that feedback before, almost in a like slap you in the face kind of a way, because I've rejected so many compliments in the past that somebody actually was like, "Can you stop?" And I was like, "Oh, what did I do?" And they felt really offended that I was rejecting their compliment. And it was a wake-up moment for me, for sure, that's one of the parts of the lack of celebrating ourselves, right? The lack of celebrating these monumental moments. It's a micro version of that, to reject a compliment or to deny someone. And we think of it as like being polite, right? Me coming from an Asian culture, it's all about humility and humbleness and no, right?
Yeah.
And then throw in the Western culture, and then you really get slapped in the face and no, don't do that. You're wrong that way, and you're wrong that way. Accept the compliment.
Especially if you're a woman.
Right. Yeah. So I love what you're saying about that too.
No, I totally, yes. I had the same experience with people saying, can't you just take something nice and, say thank you? And it's true. It's true. And you know what else? What occurs to me, this is all just flooding in right now. So sorry guys, but isn't that kind of a form of, it's like saying, oh, here's this beautiful, bountiful harvest of food. We've worked so hard planting it and growing it and then sowing it, however that is, whether you're plucking fruit, like you said, Jessica. And then you're going to sit there and you're going to go, I'm not going to eat it. No, Yeah,
you're rejecting a gift and offering something from someone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And denying yourself at the same time.
Yeah, because you're hungry and you're like, no, I'm not going to eat. I'm being modest and humble.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the person that goes on the date and they don't eat anything on the date, and then they get home and they eat.
Yes.
The graphics about that. But I want to say this to not just to you, Kristy, and you, Samantha, but to anyone watching this. Like, our worth of who we are is not determined by what we do in this world. And so for anybody that's really questioning that, you have infinite worth and value because of who you are, because the fact that you are here on this world at this time. And I don't want anybody to feel that they would question that you have worth because of who you are. And what you do is the value that you bring. And you bring high value with what you bring. No matter what stage of developing that at you are, or what stage of healing you're at, or what stage of work and harvest you are, we all bring a value. And so when you're working through this process of really being able to receive, it is receiving an acceptance for the value that you have already contributed. And so I would challenge you, a set of words, and I had to walk this out for a really long time, is really just being able to say, thank you, I received that. And not having a reply back. Because I find, especially as women, we have this justification of, oh, it wasn't a big deal, or oh, it wasn't that hard, or oh, it didn't take me that long, or especially in clothes that we wear or things oh, this old thing, or oh, I only got it that much. And to Samantha's point, like my friends challenged me on that. Stop telling us you got it on sale, or it was a discount, or it was that. Just
say thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, say thank you.
Liked it,
Yeah.
and they loved how you looked in
Yeah.
it, and they're acknowledging you and showing up. And so it has become a thank you, I received that. And there's a bit of uncomfortableness in our skin, right? Because of all these programs that we've been through, cultural programs, religion programs, trauma programs, all these programs, right, that are in our mind. And I think they're trying to send the message that it's about our worth and the value that we bring. And in reality, it's really not. It's the opportunity for us to be connected. And in almost every harvesting culture that there is around the world, in any type of crop, harvesting is done in connection with others. There are very few crops that are harvested by a single individual that is done solo. Now, it's not that it can't be, but as you look in ancient practices and cultures and things down through time, harvesting is done in connection with each other. And I believe, to Samantha's point, celebration is done in connection with each other. And so if the way that we connect with each other is to receive their recognition of our harvest, that's the beginning point of us being able to acknowledge, yes, there is a harvest. Yes, there is a celebration. And yes, I have permission to partake of it.
I love that. It really moves us out of that headspace of thinking all the time, all the weird thoughts we have, into our heart space of receiving and acknowledgement for the giving that we do. Because we all, we're always giving to others. And just like, the mask, back to the mask, putting the mask on everyone. Running up and down the aisle, put your mask on. So that was beautiful, Jessica. Thank you for that. Yeah. Well, so this has been quite the discussion. I'd like to end it with: is there anything you're planning to plant from this point forward to bring forth in the new year? I personally am planting the money tree.
Agreed. So I have my first book is called Finding Beauty in Your Broken Pieces, the art and science of transforming any relationship. And it's basically my life story on saving my marriage. But I agree with you, Kristy. And again, we're in such alignment. It's so funny that my next relationship that I wanted and have been actually working on, and the next book I have been working on, is my relationship with money. And I think it's so relevant to what we were talking about today, about celebration, about harvesting, and about receiving. And money seems to be that symbol that is really connected and correlated to all of that, what we just talked about, right? Like, it is the harvest of a business is money. And if we aren't good at receiving and celebrating the harvest, then when we receive it, we will quickly lose it, which is what up until now, very transparently for me, I've experienced, that I've had some really great harvests, but with old programming, right? Old paradigms, I've quickly see it go out the door. right? Or I quickly go back to, like, I hit an upper limit and then I'm back at like, oh, what happened? This month isn't as good as last month, right? And so I'm in this cycle, this toxic and downward spiral, or a cycle that just continues to go back to these old programs around money and not celebrating. And although I can say that I've worked on my worth and feeling worthy of just by being born, there's still a gap that I'm endeavoring to close, that is allowing me to cycle back. Even though the abundance does come, the cycle still goes into drought, right? And so it's like, how do we maintain, not just knowing that things are in cycles, so it's okay that there are sometimes low seasons and high seasons, and time to plant and sow and time to harvest, but how do we do that in more of an upward spiral so that it doesn't feel like we're going back to that place of scarcity, right? So in all transparency, like, I'm very much right there with you, Kristy, of planting that money tree, but more so reestablishing these hard wires that have been in me for not just my lifetime, generations, like literally multiple generations before me have had such a poverty mindset, and repatterning that for our future. So right there.
Well, I will trace that. The workshop that I mentioned earlier, like reworking it to pattern it to resell, is that thing. But interestingly enough, that workshop is breaking through the trauma bonds to build your business, and it's all about our money traumas and how it's tied to time and land and relationships and generations, and clearing that out. So I just kind of put it all together from all my rambling thoughts that I have about things. And we did a workshop, and the response was like, oh my gosh, like you have to do this. Like, this is the thing you have to do. And I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe. And then we did it, and I was like, oh, then they're like, no, literally. And so now working, I think that's the seed I'm planting, is like to make that really I don't want to say a product, but like a transformational experience, to not just, because we teach what we need to learn, and we lead in where we have grown, kind of things.
For sure.
So that is still working through the next level of evolution from those things for myself too. So clearing out the money traumas and the woundedness, and operating from a place of peace to see that when the harvest is here, that I'm not sabotaging the harvest.
Exactly.
I'm able to use it appropriately, because that's what harvest is, right? It's an abundance, not just for a week or two, but for a season, until we get the next harvest. So,
ladies, you are amazing. I am so happy. I wish we could stay on and just keep talking, but we've come to the end of our time. So I'd like to say to the audience, if today's episode spoke to you, don't go it alone. Book your free consult with Samantha or Jessica or me or any of our coaches at thechronichealthcollective.com for personalized support. You can also subscribe to our free monthly magazine for expert tips from all 14 coaches to elevate your health, mindset, and relationships. Catch us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, or watch past episodes anytime on E360 TV or at youtube.com at Chronic Health Collective. Thanks for tuning in. Your transformation starts now. See you next week.
bye.